So my business is called Life Mediation. So basically, a couple of short facts about mediation. What is mediation? Mediation is done by a neutral third party. So I'm not there to be on anyone's side or to make judgments about anything. It's a private and confidential process. So what that means is that I don't talk with anyone about what happened in the mediation, and I ask my clients to do the same. If they move on to other processes like court, they can't take my notes, or I don't come and testify and say that happened. So I don't give people advice. I don't tell them what to do. It's their life, and they should make decisions. So I just only guide them and help them go them through the process. And it's voluntary. Even when it's court order, it's voluntary. They can decide not to want to participate, and I would never keep anyone anywhere they don't want to be. So it's a very safe process. A lot of people think mediation when have a family member doing it or someone else. It just isn't mediation, because they're definitely not neutral and it's definitely not confidential. So my qualifications are: I have a Master in Law. I'm coaching accounting education. I have a mediator. I'm national accredited mediator with the Association of Australia. I have a graduate diploma in family dispute resolution. Only when you have that, you're allowed to work with children's matters. I'm a registered dispute resolution practitioner with the Attorney General's Office, and I'm a collaborative professional. That means you can work with lawyers and with clients even. And I have to train every year to keep my accreditation. So, like I said before, I try to think about what it is that I do. So, through mediation, I help people to preserve their assets, their dignity, their relationships, their health, and their children's well-being and future. People don't deal with conflict. It impacts on many, many areas of their life. So why should people choose me? There's only one mediator for the entire process, and that's me. In other organisations, they get different people for different parts of the process. Privacy, I'm the only one who sees all their details, what's been happening, what they have. It doesn't go anywhere. It's a very timely process. When you're paying 3 mortgages or the conflict is rising in your organisation, you don't want to wait months. You want to be dealt with right now, and that's what I provide for people. I accommodate my clients. Mediation can be done face-to-face, by phone, video conferencing, whatever works. That's what I will do. There's no surprises in my process. I tell people what it costs, what I will do, what they can do, how it will look, how it will work, who will be in the room, so people don't have to get anxious and they can make decisions about what they want to do or don't want to do throughout the process. And it's very cost effective. Like I said, if you don't deal with conflict, it costs money. And if you do deal with conflict in other ways, it can be a lot more expensive than going through me. And I think it's really rare, the skill set that I have. Most mediators are lawyers that are trained as mediators, or counsellors that are trained as mediators, and I have both, so I think it's pretty cool. So the kind of mediation that I do, it's family mediation, workplace mediation, neighbourhood disputes, and commercial mediation. But at the top 2 I do the most at this stage. So about workplace mediation, I don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but I have a handout for everyone who's interested. But since January, there's an all-encompassing law that makes bullying conduct unlawful. So what that means is that you're liable as an employer, and you have to be proactive and promote a bully-free workplace. So workplace bullying costs the Australian economy up to $36 billion a year. And if you get a case on your hand as an employer, it can cost you up to $25,000 to deal with it. And it's not just your employees, it's students, it's people who come and volunteer, the whole lot. But I have more about it because I'm sure you'll have questions on that if you're... Then I do family mediation. I do children's matters, and I also do division of assets and liabilities for people. So, like I said, only family dispute resolution practitioners can mediate children's matters, and it's mandatory before you can go to the family court. So you have to go to someone like me, otherwise you cannot even lodge any parenting orders. So it's not mandatory for property division. However, the weighting is enormous in court, and when you get to court, the magistrate will probably look at you and say, have you tried mediation? And if you say no, they go, I'll come to you. So it's not, it's better to do it first anyway. What I love about doing family mediation is the impact of separation on children doesn't have to be bad. Kids don't like it, no one likes it, but it doesn't have to be traumatic. But when there's conflict, and especially conflict over long periods of time, it's very traumatic, and the research is overwhelming on what the impact is on children and their further lives. So it's really important that people find ways to communicate with each other differently and do things differently. So that's what I do with me. So where can you find referrals for me? Business owners, HR departments, friends, family, acquaintances. You have clients who experience difficulties with their ex-partner or going through separation, or gone through separation 10 years ago and they still can't figure it out. Grandparents, I see a lot of grandparents now who want access to their grandchildren and want to go to court. Schools, principals, teachers, I would like to talk to them about how can they deal with difficult people. Lawyers and family counsellors. Then I have a little video about Julia, and I thought that would be really good to watch that so you can see what it is that I do and how it can help people. So when you're watching the video, I would really like you to ask yourself what would have happened if these people would have not dealt with their conflict. For Julia's future well-being, the relationship between the parents and Julia, the people around them, their own health, their stress, their anxiety, and also their money. They have to go to court and fight about all this. So let's have a look if I can find her. It's only 2 minutes. And have a look.
You'll just let me be that weekend. That's not my problem. I told you last week what I was doing. Back off! Get off my case. I'm so sick of you. Enough!
I hate it when they yell.
And you can talk. Look, when Julia came home yesterday, she told me that she had a girlfriend staying over. It has been 6 months. Don't you think you could give her a moment to get used to it before you had any old girl coming over and staying the night? Look, can we just have a civil conversation here for once? My best isn't good enough for you? Well, it's just going to have to be Paul because it's all I've got.
Well, when they yell, they don't really notice me.
Ready for some tea?
Mom, I can't find my reader.
What was that?
Mom, I can't find my reader.
Come on, it's tea time. Come on, leave it for later. Julia, could you come up the front with your reader? You've lost your reader again.
It's not my fault I forgot my reader. No one would help me find it.
Hello?
Hi, is this Mrs. Benelli?
Yes, it is.
Hi, it's Kathy. I was just hoping to talk about Julia.
Absolutely.
Look, this morning one of the students said that Julia was crying in the army outside school.
Oh, what happened?
Well, when I got to her, she was very upset. She said she didn't want to go to school because she lost her reader.
No, she didn't lose it. I put it away while I was tidying up. I must have forgotten to give it to her.
Mrs. Benelli, I'm not worried about her reader. It's just that Julia's often upset and teary at school, and I was wondering if we could actually talk about this.
It was such a wake-up call when the school told me about Julia. I just had no idea.
Well, we finally got some help, and now we'll make a conscious effort not to fight in front of Julia anymore. I mean, it's not easy.
Well, every time the phone rings and it's Paul, I can see her watching us to see if we're going to argue.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Paul. And once she sees I'm not arguing, she's happy. Oh, I reckon we can talk about this. We'll work it out.
Okay, that was not too confronting, but yeah, as you can see, it's really important that people deal with these things. So just a quick testimonial. Our family dispute resolution experience with Lisanne was fantastic. My ex-partner and I started with all fuse, and within 2.5 hours we agreed on a fair and workable plan about our child's need as well as ours. Lisanne was warm, calm and professional and very effectively guided us through a difficult conversation. With her help, we avoided judgmental, aggressive and nasty behaviour, didn't get sidetracked by past events. In the end, it wasn't nearly as stressful as I thought it might be, and we avoided conflict. Being able to choose between face-to-face or telephone mediation was also really helpful. It made it easier for everyone to attend and help us manage our strong emotions. Lisanne also sent us the mediated agreement much more quickly than I expected, meaning the whole process was quick, relatively painless, and very effective. I would recommend Lisanne to anyone about to go through family dispute resolution or mediation. And I've lost my testimonials on my website.
We've got probably 6 to 7 more minutes if you want to keep.
Sorry, what?
We've got plenty of more time if you want to keep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
We're running a bit early.
I really want to try to talk fast so I can get it all done. So, yeah, well, I think that was it. I think I covered what I wanted to cover for now. I think the referrals, I'll go back to that where you can find them for me. And if anyone has questions, then I can answer those. I'll hand out the handout as well. Does anyone have questions?
Yep, I have a question. You talking about going to schools and talking to principals, teachers. Is that to do with children who come in to the school and who are like Julia, or do you also mediate actually between children who maybe have conflict between themselves?
Yeah, I could do, well, depending on the age of the children.
Yeah.
I mean, mediating to 5-year-olds is not really effective, but yeah, if they're older, I could do that.
Yeah.
But I like to speak to teachers and principals for, also teachers to educate teachers. They're dealing with parenting separation all the time. It's not part of their job description, but I don't understand what they need to do. Also for me to come in if there's a difficult situation, for me to be dealing with it. And they will have a lot of parents that come to them complaining about the other parent, and the principal might be able to say, listen, why don't you go and see this lady? Because I can't deal with this. I'm a principal, not a mediator. So I guess that's why I'm asking for that. Any other questions?
Yeah, the family court mandated mediation process.
Yes.
Do they sort of dictate an agenda for that, or they just identify the items that are in dispute to be mediated before they're presented to the court?
Yeah, the thing is, if you do mediation, it's effective. You don't have to go to court anymore. All you have to do is put the agreement in that you made with me, or not you, with anyone, and then it's consensual, so they don't have to go there. They made it mandatory because the court system is plugged up. It's really, really busy, and magistrates don't want to be dealing with things that people can sort out themselves. Plus, research shows that if people come up with their own agreements, they're a lot more likely to actually do it. So, that's why they made it mandatory to do it first. And then they made like a whole public system that's very unworkable. So that's why it's now all a bit of a problem for people. Which might be something.
But I suppose a bit of a triple barrel question.
Yes.
What are the, I guess I think I understand, I guess, a little bit more about the mediation process, but aside from, ex-husband, ex-wife sort of fighting and that sort of dispute, what other disputes do you deal with? Or, what issues do people have that they will come see you about? When should they come see you? And I guess what's the target outcome?
I think with conflict, the earlier the better, because if it's in a crisis mode, it's a lot. I can still do work with people, but it's a lot more difficult to, get people back down to the first bit. So, for example, I was hired by a private high school the other week, and they had a lot of people on the ground doing maintenance work and set up things for kids and lots of stuff. And there was two guys who were in major conflict with each other, and it was really affecting the team. And what normally happens, they say, okay, just shake hands, you blokes, don't worry about it, and just get over yourself. Well, it didn't work that way. So the HR department called me, the lady, and she said, I'm not going to be sent here, and I'm about to sack someone. And I don't know who, because they had bullying complaints to each other at the end, and it was driving her insane, and she just didn't know what to do. So I came in, talked to everyone separately first, and one of them was actually suicidal at that stage. It was so impactful on he didn't want to go to work anymore, he was scared of the other one, and the other one was also, anyway. So it came down, I've shared it with a couple of people in one-to-ones already, it came down, when I got down to the nitty-gritty, what it came down to is that where was everyone sitting in the lunchroom, the radio stations in the workshop, they were fighting over really little things, but it got really, really big. So when we resolved that, and I said, okay, so what is that you want? So and then I worked with them, and then I worked with the team because they made decisions, and other people were affected, and the HR department would come in, and then it was just resolved. It was actually quite simple. But it sounds simple, but you still have to be able to get there, I guess. So anyone who has, or neighbours have a lot of disputes, they can do mediation. The fence is 2 centimetres that way. Commercial disputes is but it's less emotional, I guess. It's more about just, you said you would do this in the contract and you're not doing it. But a lot of time that's arbitration, and I'm not an arbitrator. So, does that answer your question?
It does. Thanks.
Okay.
We've got time for a few more questions if we've got any more.